Do you think kids can save the planet?
If I say no, can I skip this awful book?
Argofunk Book Review, Argofunk Book Review.
This book was written by Janet Beecham and Malcolm Hillgartner. Sorry for calling your book awful. We start with Dawn in science class, getting a lecture on how it's important to help the environment. Get used to ecology lectures, we'll be seeing a lot of them. The teacher, Mrs. Gonzalez, says their project this year is to help save the planet. She couldn't be bothered to think of any specifics, though, so the students have to make up everything on their own. Stacy has the same teacher, so she and Dawn team up to save the world, like a superhero crossover movie. Dawn babysits the Barrettes. She has stickers of various sea animals. This prompts Dawn to lecture the kids on how dolphins are brutally murdered by fishers every day. She tells them to help save the animals by recycling cans and reusing plastic bags and clipping soda rings and turning off faucets. And oh my gosh, she will not shut up. She just lectures the readers, the kids, for 10 pages straight. We're only on chapter 3 and already I kinda want to throw away plastic bottles just to make Dawn mad. The kids are so enthusiastic about the environment, Dawn decides her project will be teaching an ecology class to kids. Dawn and Stacy make up 6 weeks of lesson plans, and I say that's good enough for a project, but these girls can't do anything without turning it into a major neighborhood event. So they decide they're also going to put on a green fair. So they're doing 2 projects, not 1. They get 13 kids to sign up, and in the first class, Dawn lectures them about water pollution and air pollution and the ozone layer and what things are biodegradable. Like this book. This book should be biodegradable. I think I'll bury it just to be sure. Dawn is so successful at indoctrinating the kids into her ecology cult that the Pike kids go home and start a police force, which arrests people for not being environmentally conscious enough. Mallory and Jesse are arrested 5 times, and their punishment is to listen to green lectures over and over and over again. It's basically the pre-internet version of the people who yell at strangers for having too many kids. Those people are jerks. At the next Babysitters Club meeting, Dawn criticizes Claudia for buying individually wrapped candy. She yells at Marianne for not writing on both sides of a piece of paper, and she announces a tragedy. The town doesn't have a recycling program! So she decides to start a recycling program, which is project number 3. Dawn, you only have to do 1 project for this class. Slow down. The recycling project isn't too complicated. They just set up a few bins at the school, and they get transported to the main recycling center once a week. The vice principal says the students have to vote on the project, for some reason. Dawn tries to skew the vote by making dozens of posters and flyers. Hey, isn't that a waste of paper? Not environmentally friendly, Dawn. Dawn yells at a student for not recycling, even though we just got told there is no place for students to recycle in this school. Continuity! Marianne tells Dawn to tone it down a bit. Dawn ignores her, and she makes a public scene by yelling at another student for using styrofoam. At the next class, the kids prepare their green fair exhibits, and Dawn criticizes the children for not calling their friends and pressuring them to recycle. Every time Stacy tries to help out with the class, Dawn interrupts her and cuts her out of the conversation. Stacy and Claudia talk with each other later, and Stacy confesses that she's starting to hate Dawn. She would quit working with her if her grade didn't depend on this. The school votes to start the recycling center. Dawn is horrified when they vote to put Mrs. Gonzalez in charge of the project. Dawn wanted to be in charge! It was her idea! She overhears Grace and Cookie gossiping. They say they specifically voted against Dawn because she's so obnoxious about recycling. Dawn is humiliated by this. She goes to the bathroom and cries for a half hour. What happened to Dawn being the independent one who doesn't care what other people think? And Dawn hates those girls. Since when does she care what Cookie thinks? Continuity! And yes, I know Cookie's name is supposed to be pronounced Cokie, but that makes her sound like a drug dealer, so I'm sticking with Cookie. Dawn is grumpy during the recycling center's opening ceremonies because I should get all the credit. Me, I'm Dawn. Is Dawn doing this because she loves the environment or because she loves attention? I'm not sure. Christy babysits some kids who make birdhouses and bird feeders. Of course, this is coupled with lectures on how to take care of animals. At the next Babysitters Club meeting, Dawn gives their assignments for the Green Fair. The girls get mad at her because she didn't even bother to ask them to help. She just gives them assignments and assumes they'll go along with it. So the girls call her out on the fact that she's been an awful person in this book. It's okay for Dawn to like environmental stuff, but it's not okay for her to yell at strangers all the time. Dawn's first response is to yell at her friends, but then she realizes they're right, and she apologizes. The Green Fair is a huge success, of course. Dawn writes a 30-page report on the whole experience. She prints it out twice. One for her, one for Stacy. Page waster! Mrs. Gonzalez loves the report so much, she puts Dawn in charge of the recycling center. Until Dawn graduates in 2 months, and then she'll take it back. The end. Post-book follow-up. I'm told that this becomes the Dawn book. Whenever anyone thinks of Dawn, they think of this book, to the point where she reenacts the book in the Babysitters Club movie. This is sad, because this is also an awful book, the book which made many readers hate Dawn forever. She is obnoxious in this book. She is mean to everyone and lectures constantly. The lectures are not well written, in that there's no narrative or logical flow. Dawn just goes from point to point to point with barely any transitions. It's like the authors copy-pasted a bulleted list from an environmental flyer, and they wanted to hit every point no matter what. Except global warming, the book ignores that environmental issue completely. I'm not sure why. The sad part is, helping the environment is important. It's just so heavy-handed here that it's a major turnoff, and you could easily twist this book's moral into keeping friends happy is more important than saving the planet. This book would have benefited from a subplot. Technically, the recycling center story is the subplot, but it fits into the main storyline so well, I thought it was the main story. I'm surprised they didn't have a subplot where Jenny is a brat, which mirrors Dawn's main storyline. The only other thing I wanted to note is that Claudia is a comedian. The majority of her lines are jokes. I guess she was in a good mood this book. At least someone is. Overall, it's a bad book. Don't read it unless you like environmental lectures or seeing Dawn being a jerk. It was mildly interesting to see Stacy and Dawn team up since they rarely spend time together, but they didn't interact all that much, so that was a lost opportunity. I'm going to give this book a pity point for trying to have a good message on the environment, but that's it. I give Babysitters Club number 57, Dawn Saves the Planet, a 1 out of 10.